Midleton single pot still whisky must be the ultimate expression of the art. The bottling may be new, but the whisky is old, and the land that gave it life is older still. Whisky this good doesn't happen overnight.
There are two key words here, consistency and terroir. You see, only the most exquisite whiskies get to bear the Midleton name, and they are all born of this land.
Just north of Midleton, the Dungourney River runs through the village of Dungourney. Life here is easy and out of time. I know, because I got a puncture here last year, and I can tell you there's no mobile phone reception in these parts, and the only phone booth in the area takes phone cards, and they were phased out over a decade ago. The water that flows through the Dungourney River is just part of the story. The soil here is rich, the climate forgiving. It's perfect barley country. Not much else goes into the making of whisky in Midleton, just a sprinkle of yeast, a lot of skill, and buckets of time.
Trust me, this is a great place to kick back. A fabulous place to get a flat tire, and a super place to make and mature whisky. Of course, it helps that the entire process of making Midleton pot still whisky takes place here in the town of Midleton. Fine Irish pot still whisky is and always has been the product of a single distillery. It's about control, but not for the sake of control. It's about consistency. It's about terroir. It's about distilling the essence of this place, the geology, the geography, the climate. It's about a purity of vision and a purity of production that knows only excellence.
When you're looking at a distillery, you must place the distillery in the context in which it exists, the surrounding landscape, the type of barley grown, the local watercourse, the Dungourney River, all supply the basic raw materials for the distilling of whisky at Midleton today.
Born and raised in this house in the grounds of Midleton Distillery, Barry Crockett is a second-generation master distiller and personally oversees every bottle of this whisky, and he's not going to put his name to anything less than the best.
Midleton Legacy is a whisky which encapsulates the very best of the Irish pot still whisky character. It's particularly smooth and refined, which is what you'd expect if you're aware of the Midleton Very Rare concept. It presents the best in terms of the flavour characteristic of the barley and the flavour characteristic which comes through from the maturation process. Cask selection, cereal selection, use of water are all critical factors in the style and flavour of whisky here at Midleton.
And when the whisky is made, it's not shipped halfway across the country to mature. It's simply rolled out the back, up the Dungourney Road, to a warehouse like this, where it'll spend its time in quiet contemplation. See, the air here is clear, and the whisky casks, well, they quite like that.
In the great tradition of Midleton Very Rare, each cask of Midleton Barry Crockett Legacy is personally selected by Barry Crockett and aged exclusively in American oak casks. Over time, this wood adds delicate vanilla notes to the whisky, making this a pot still like no other.
If my father was here today, and I'm sure he is in spirit, he would be, I think, immensely proud of the legacy. He viewed the development of the industry in a very, very promising light. He said always that there was a phenomenal future for the Irish whisky story and for Irish postal whisky. I believe it is his legacy as well as mine, but I think it would be also correct to say it's a legacy of all those many people who worked in the business over many generations.